Okay, just to let you know, we're live on YouTube now. We're live on YouTube now. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, good morning and welcome to the 97th Annual General Meeting. We will commence at 10 a.m. sharp. If you're online, great to have you with us. Welcome to the show. Sorry, camera 1 and 2, please. Cameras 1 and 2. Cameras 1 and 2, please. I need to check some. Where are they? Camera 1 and 2. Hello. Welcome to the Unilever Niger PLC 97th Annual General Meeting. If you're joining us on YouTube, great to have you and welcome. This is 20 minutes to 10. We will commence at 10 a.m. Welcome once again to the 97th Annual General Meeting of Unilever Nigeria PLC. George? Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, we will go live in 10 minutes. Please take your seats and make yourselves comfortable. We're going live in 10 minutes. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 97th Annual General Meeting of Unilever Nigeria PLC. We will commence in 5 minutes, so please, we endure you to take your seats and make yourselves comfortable. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please, your phones on silent or vibrate. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please, your phone on silent or vibrate. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are streaming live on YouTube and we will go live in exactly 5 minutes. Please, your phones on silent and do make yourselves comfortable. Thank you. We will go live in 3 minutes. We'll go live in 3 minutes. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unilever Nigeria PLC 97th Annual General Meeting. We will commence in exactly 60 seconds. Please ensure your phones are on silent. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please can we rise for the national anthem.
You're on the second floor, backward hall of the civic center, and we'll have 5 exit points. So when you hear the sound of the emergency alarm system, or I personally walking here to ask you to vacate the hall, please kindly make use of any of the 5 exit points. Outside of the exit point, we'll have the elevators and the staircases. And please, when you're moving, please mind your steps, because the floor might be too slippery under your feet. So outside of the hall, you get the elevators and the staircase. Please make use of the staircase. Avoid the elevator. And when you're descending the stairs, make use of the rail to maintain your balance. Then outside of the building, when you take your left, that takes you straight to the muster point to wait for further instructions. Please, we have the toilets on the ground floor and on the second floor. On the first floor, sorry. There's no on the second floor. Please, the World Health Organization and the NCDC, they are yet to tell us otherwise. So, COVID-19 is very much out there. Please, let's play safe. Thank you and enjoy your day.
Distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, the time is just a little past 10 o'clock. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 97th Annual General Meeting of our company. I have received confirmation from our registrar, Greenwich Registrars and Data Solutions Limited, that we have a quorum as required by Article 54 of the company's Articles of Association. Can the registrar read the proxy report?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, distinguished board members, and esteemed shareholders. At the start of the meeting, we have recorded 237 proxies. Shareholders physically present, 11 in number, representing in shareholding 4,551,779,344 units of shares. These constitute 79.23% of the issued share capital of Unilever PLC. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The meeting, having been duly convened and properly constituted, is hereby declared open. I wish to inform you that this meeting is being held by proxy. We sought and have received the approval of the Corporate Affairs Commission to hold this meeting by proxy. Accordingly, the meeting is being streamed live to enable shareholders, regulators, observers, and other stakeholders who are not able to join physically to follow the proceedings. Furthermore, I wish to inform you that safety and health measures have been put in place by our company for this meeting. The number of persons expected to be physically present at this meeting is about 50, as you can see. Hand sanitizers and face masks have also been made available at the venue of this meeting, and several other precautionary measures have been employed, including temperature checks before entry into the venue and requiring that attendees keep the recommended distance between each other. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 10 items of business before you today. You will have the opportunity to move and second motions put to the meeting and to vote on each motion. There will also be ample opportunity for questions and comments. Please ensure that you raise your hand and are called before you speak. As we wish to have a full recording of this meeting, microphones connected to a tape recorder and amplifying equipment are in use so that everyone present should be able to hear. I would therefore request that those moving or seconding motions put to the meeting, making comments or asking questions, please step forward to the microphone, stand in the aisle closest to them, and speak clearly into the microphone. Before speaking, kindly commence by stating your name. I wish to appeal to each question to be brief with the comments or questions so as to give others a chance to also ask questions. I would like to inform all members that the register of directors' holdings is available for inspection during the meeting in compliance with Section 301, subsection 8 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, which I'm holding up here. Before moving to the formal aspect of this meeting, I would like to introduce very briefly members of the Board of Directors. I am Nemeka Achebe, Obi of Onitsha. I'm a non-executive director and chairman of the board. I was appointed chairman in July 2011. To my immediate left is Mr. Carl Cruz, who is the managing director, who was appointed as the MD in February 2020. Next to Mr. Cruz, still on the left, is Mrs. Folake Ogundikbe, who is newly appointed to the board as an executive director in April 2022. It is my pleasure to welcome Mrs. Ogundikbe to our first annual general meeting with the company. Next to Mrs. Ogundikbe is Mr. Felix Enwemadu, an executive director, who was appointed to the board in October 2016. Next to Mr. Enwemadu is Madam Amuna Lawan Ali, OON. She's an independent, non-executive director and was appointed to the board in December 2015. To my immediate right is Mrs. Abidemi Ademola, the General Counsel and Company Secretary. She was appointed as Company Secretary in January 2012. Next to Mrs. Ademola is Mr. Michael Ikpoki, an independent non-executive director. He was appointed to the board in February 2021. Next to Mr. Ikpoki is Mrs. Abiola Alabi, a non-executive director. She was appointed to the board in December 2015. Mr. Jaime Aguilera is joining the meeting virtually, as he is currently not in the country. Mr. Aguilera is a non-executive director as well as the president of Unilever Africa. He was appointed to the board in January 2021. Mr. Motiu Sumono, CON, is also joining the meeting virtually due to circumstances beyond his control. Mr. Sumono is an independent director and he was appointed to the board in December 2015. Mr. Chika Nwobi is also joining the meeting virtually. He's a non-executive director. I was appointed to the non-executive director. I was appointed to the board in January 2019. The profiles of all the directors are contained in the company's annual report. I would like to introduce the representatives of the following: our auditors, KPMG Professional Services, Mr. Uzodimma Nwankwo. Thank you. And Mrs. Deborah Ukweje. Our registrars, Greenwich Registers and Data Solutions Limited, Mrs. Anne Mutua. And Mr. Tubenna Madubeze. The Nigerian Exchange Regulation Limited, formerly Nigerian Stock Exchange, Mrs. Lillian Dako. The Securities and Exchange Commission, Mrs. Amina Tanko, who is joining us virtually, and Mrs. Amara Okechukwu, who is here with us today. The Corporate Affairs Commission had informed us that they would likely join the meeting virtually. Oh, sorry, my apologies. Okay, welcome. I will now introduce members of the Audit Committee. The shareholders' representatives on the Audit Committee are Mr. David Oguntoye, who is the chairman. Alhaji Wahab Ajani. And Mr. Kolawole Durojaye. The board members who are also members of the Audit Committee are Mrs. Abiola Alabi and Mr. Chika Nwobi, who is joining us virtually. I would also like to introduce the persons who have been appointed as proxies and who are attending this meeting in person for themselves and as proxies for shareholders who could not join us physically. They are Sir Sonny Nwosu, I don't see him. Dr. Anthony Omojola, welcome. Mr. Boniface Okezie, I don't see him. Chief Matthew Akinlade, Chief Timothy Adesia, Mr. Benga Idu is not here. Mrs. Adebisi Bakare, Mr. Nona Awo, Mr. Bright Wabog, Mr. Patrick Ajidwa, Mrs. Samiat Adebanke Udunuga, Mrs. Ganiat Adetutu Siambola, Mr. Gafar Erinfolami, Alaja Sarata Balogun, Mrs. E.O. Obidei, and Mr. Samson Olagoke. Mr. Mutu Sumono, Mr. Michael Ikoki, Mr. Felix Ewamadu, and myself have also been nominated proxies for this meeting. Also in attendance physically or virtually are members of the Unilever Nigeria leadership team and Unilever managers. I think some of them are here. Those who are here, please be upstanding. Unilever. I will now call on the company secretary to read the notice of the meeting, which is on pages 8 to 11 of the annual report and financial statements.
Good morning, distinguished shareholders. Notice of annual general meeting. Notice is hereby given that the 97th annual general meeting of Unilever Nigeria PLC will be held at the Grand Banquet Hall, Civic Center, Victoria Island, Lagos, on Thursday, 5th May 2022 at 10 a.m. for the following purposes. Ordinary business. To lay before the members the reports of the directors, the report of the managing director, summary of sustainability report, the audited financial statement for the year ended 31st December 2021, together with the reports of the audit committee and the independent auditors thereon. To declare a dividend, to elect or re-elect directors, to wait, to elect Mrs. Folake Ogundikwe, being a director elected since the last annual general meeting. To elect the following directors retiring by rotation: Mr. Mutu Sumono, Mrs. Abiola Alabi, His Majesty Naimeka A. Achebe, notwithstanding that he is over 70 years of age. A special notice of his age has been given to the company pursuant to Section 282 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. 4. To disclose the remuneration of managers of Unilever Nigeria PLC. 5. To authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the independent auditors. 6. To elect members of the audit committee. Special business by ordinary resolution. 7. To consider and, if thought fit, to pass the following as ordinary resolution: that the remuneration of the non-executive directors of Unilever Nigeria PLC for the year ending December 31, 2022, and until further notice, be and is hereby fixed at 62 million naira only as directors' fees. In addition, city allowances will be paid at standard agreed rates for each meeting attended, and the chairman will be entitled to a vehicle allowance of 12 million gross per annum. Note that this represents no change to the non-executive director's remuneration of Unilever Nigeria PLC from the previous year. 8, to consider and if thought fit, pass the following resolution as an ordinary resolution of the company. That pursuant to Rule 20.8 of the Rule Book of the Nigerian Exchange 2015 Issuers Rule, a general mandate be and is hereby given authorizing the company during the 2022 financial year and up to the date of the next annual general meeting to procure goods, services, and financing and enter into such incidental transactions necessary for its day-to-day operations from its related parties or interested persons on normal commercial terms consistent with the company's transfer pricing policy. All transactions falling under this category, which were earlier entered into in 2022, prior to the date of this meeting, are hereby ratified. 9, to consider and if thought fit to pass the following subjoined resolutions as an ordinary resolution. A, that in compliance with Section 124 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, number 3 of 2020 as amended, and Regulation 13 of the Companies Regulation 2021, shareholders hereby authorize and approve the cancellation of 4,254,994,583 unissued ordinary shares of 50 kobo each, which comprise the total number of unissued shares in the share capital of the company. That for the purposes of implementing the cancellation of the company's unissued shares, the board is hereby authorized to execute all relevant documents, take all such lawful steps as may be required by statute and or regulations, and do such other acts or things as may be necessary, supplementary, consequential, or incidental for the purpose of giving effect to this resolution, including but not limited to engaging professional advisors and complying with any directive which any regulatory agency or body may deem fit to impose or approve. C, that all acts carried out by the board of the company, either to, in connection with the above, be and are hereby ratified. Special business by special resolution. Number 10, to consider and if thought fit, to pass the following resolution. Amendment of Memorandum and Articles of Association, that all references to authorized share capital in the Memorandum and Articles of Association of the company should be replaced with issued share capital, and paragraph 4 of the Memorandum of Association of the company and Regulation 4 of the Articles of Association be amended as to read as follows. The share capital of the company is 2,872,502,708 naira 50 kobo, divided into 5,745,005,417 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each. In view of the COVID-19 pandemic, attendance at the AGM shall only be by proxy. A member of the company entitled to attend and vote is advised to select from the unlisted proposed proxies to attend and vote in his or her stead. I will take the list of proxies as read and all the notes as read as well, by order of the board. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Demola. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as it is the custom at our annual general meeting, I would like to give a brief overview of the company's activities in 2021 before we transact the ordinary business of the day. My statement is on pages 13 to 16 of the annual report and financial statements booklets. I will now proceed to read the same, unless you rather take it as read. I take it as unanimous. Thank you very much. In addition, the Managing Director, Mr. Carl Cruz, has also presented his report to the members on pages 17 and 18 of the annual report and financial statements booklet. Mr. Cruz will also proceed to read the same, unless you rather take it as read. Thank you very much. Distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, item number one on the agenda is to lay before the members the report of the directors, the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2021, together with the reports of the audit committee and the independent auditors thereon. As copies have been circulated to you in accordance with the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 and the Company's Articles of Association, I hereby lay before this meeting the report of the directors, the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2021, and the reports of the audit committee and independent auditors thereon. I will now call on Mr. Uzodimma Nwankwo, a partner in the firm of KPMG Professional Services, the independent auditors, to read the independent auditor's report, which is on pages 63 to 66 of the annual report and financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2021, earlier circulated to all members.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and good morning once again, distinguished members of the Board of Directors, shareholders, and everyone else present. I will be reading extracts of the independent auditor's reports, which, as rightly stated by the chairman, is on pages 63 to 66. And in the interest of time, and with the permission of the chairman and the shareholders, I would like to read the first paragraph and the last paragraph, and the rest can be taken as read, with the permission of the chairman. So, the opinion to the shareholders of Unilever Nigeria PLC, reports on the audit of the financial statements. Opinion: we have audited the financial statements of Unilever Nigeria PLC, the company, which comprise the statement of financial position as at 31 December 2021, the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, the statement of changes in equity, the statement of cash flows for the year then ended, and the notes comprising significant accounting policies and other explanatory information. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of the company as at 31 December 2021 and of its financial performance and its cash flows for the year then ended, in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRSs, and in the manner required by the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA 2020, and the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act 2011. I will then read the last paragraph, which is on page 66. Report on other legal and regulatory requirements. Compliance with the requirements of Schedule 5 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA 2020. We have obtained all the information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purpose of our audit. In our opinion, proper books of accounts have been kept by the company so far as appears from our examination of those books. The company's statement of financial position and statements of profit or loss and other comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of accounts. Signed by me, Uzodimma Nwankwo, on 30 March 2022 for KPMG Professional Services, Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nwankwo. I will now call on Mr. David Oguntoye, Chairman of the Audit Committee, to read the report of the Audit Committee to the members of Unilever Nigeria PLC, which is on page 61 of the annual report and financial statements.
Thank you, sir. The Chairman, Your Royal Highness, the Obi of Onitsha, members of the board and management and staff, regulatory authorities present, distinguished shareholders present and joining us virtually, I say a good morning to you all. The report of the Audit Committee to members of Unilever Nigeria PLC can be found on page 61 of the annual reports and financial statements. In accordance with the provisions of section 404, subsection 4 and 7 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, the members of the Statutory Audit Committee of Unilever Nigeria PLC hereby reports as follows. We have exercised our statutory functions under section 404, subsection 7 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, and we acknowledge the cooperation of management and staff in the conduct of these responsibilities. We confirm that, 1, the accounting and reporting policies of the company are consistent with legal requirements and agreed ethical practices. 2, the internal audit programs are extensive and provide a satisfactory evaluation of efficiency of the internal control systems. 3, we have considered the independent auditor's post-audit report in respect of year rendered 31st December 2021 and management responses thereon, and are satisfied thereto. Members of the audit committees are, kindly rise as I call your name and take a bow. My humble self, Mr. David Ogutoye, Chairman and Shareholder Representative. Alhaji Wahab A. Ajani, also a Shareholder Representative. Mr. Kolawole Drojaye, also a Shareholder Representative. Mrs. Abiola Alabi, Non-Executive Director. Mr. Chika Nwobi, also a Non-Executive Director, joining us virtually. And this report is dated 16th March 2022. And the company's secretary served as our scribe throughout our deliberations. Thank you, signed by the Chairman Audit Committee, Mr. David Ogutoye. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oguntoye. I shall be pleased to answer questions and take comments which you may have on the Chairman's statement, the Managing Director's report, and on the 2021 annual reports and financial statements before we proceed to the next item of business. In making your comments and or asking your questions on the reports and the financial statements, it would help to ensure that we give the right answers if you would refer to the page of the report and financial statements to which your comments and or questions relate. Members should please be brief in their comments and questions to afford opportunity to other shareholders to have their say. Each questioner should please give his or her full name over the microphone and state his or her questions slowly, please. Shareholders who are following the proceedings online can also write their questions in the comments section of the online platform through which they are following the meeting. We will, as time permits, read out and answer some of those questions. Are there any comments and or questions, please? We'll start from the front. Madam first, and then you.
Madam first.
Ladies first, too. Abi?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. other board members here present, and those participating virtually, the regulatory authorities here present and those participating virtually, my fellow distinguished shareholders here present, and those participating virtually, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Barrister Adetutu Shinyobola. I am the president of Highly Favored Shareholders Association. I have some observations, comments, questions, and suggestions on Unilever's 2021 annual report. Mr. Chairman, with your kind permission, I will quickly run through them. First and foremost, on page 7, results at a glance. A, revenue grew by 35% from 52.2 billion naira to 70.5 billion naira in the year under review. Operating profit stroke loss grew. Operating profit stroke loss grew for a loss of 5.7 billion naira to a profit of 1.1 billion naira in the year under review. Profit stroke loss before taxation grew for a loss of 4.5 billion naira to a profit of 1.9 billion naira in the year under review. Profit stroke loss for the year grew from a loss of 3.97 billion naira to a profit of 3.4 billion naira in the year under review. Cash and cash equivalents grew from 31.1 billion naira to 55.7 billion naira in the year under review. Earnings per share in naira grew from a loss of 69 kobo to a profit of 59 kobo in the year under review. Net asset per share also grew from 10 naira 81 kobo to 11 naira 45 kobo in the year under review. I observed an improved performance in the year under review because all the indices are in progression. I thank the Almighty God for this positive turnaround, and I want to seize this opportunity to give kudos to the listening board and management team for the job well done. And I want to implore you people to do more. Number 2, when I marry page 16, board members in chairman's statement with page 32 and 33, board composition, I observed that Mrs. Adesola Sotande Peters, our highest financial director, resigned from our company on the 16th of December 2021. I want to seize this opportunity to thank her for her meritorious service to our company and to wish her the very best in our present and future endeavors. I also observed that the board has appointed Mrs. Folake Ogundipe as finance director on the 1st of April to fill the vacuum created by the exit of Mrs. Adesola Sotande Peters. I want to seize this opportunity to welcome her into our board and to wish her a fruitful tenure in office. When I marry page 22 and page 23, page 22 to 27, the beautiful faces and the profile of the board of directors with page 32, board composition. I observed that we have only 3 ladies as directors out of 10, which amounts to 30%. This is unacceptable on gender balancing. We have to improve on it going forward. From page 28 to 30, the beautiful faces of the leadership team. I observed that we have only 4 ladies in the management team out of 14, which amounts to 28%. This is unacceptable on gender balancing as well. We have to improve on it going forward. On page 31, disposal of our tea business. Observe that we have sold our tea business in the year under review for the sum of 2.76 billion naira. Why? On page 37 and 38, attendance at board meetings and board committee meetings. I observe an 100% attendance in the year under review. This is commendable. Please keep it up. On page 38, directors' shareholding. I observe that it is only our chairman out of 10 directors listed that has our shares attached to his name directly or indirectly in the year under review. Why? On page 46, corporate social responsibility. I observe that our CSR in the year under review centered on health and education. Next time, we should extend it to social welfare, youth empowerment, and community development. On page 69, statements of financial position as at 31 of December. Trade and other receivables under current assets went up from 12.96 billion naira to 14.99 billion naira in the year under review. What are the modalities in place to recover this debt from our customers to the nearest minimum so that it will not end up as a bad debt that will be written off? Also, trade and other payables under current liabilities also went up from 27.4 billion naira to 39.7 billion naira in the year under review. How do we intend to pay this debt to our customers? On page 88, expenses by nature. Handling charges went up from 1.6 billion naira to 2.2 billion naira in the year under review. Why? Professional service fees went up from 203.7 million naira to 359.1 million naira in the year under review. Why? When other companies are slashing fees, utilities went up astronomically from 893.7 million naira to 1.96 billion naira in the year under review. This is huge. Why? Office materials also went up astronomically from 44.5 million naira to 110.3 million naira in the year under review. This is huge as well. Why? Lastly, I observed that we use these annual reports judiciously to advertise all our products. This is commendable. Please keep it up. Thanks and God bless you richly, Mr. Chairman, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much. Don't forget, I had requested that we should be as brief and focused as possible, asking our comments and making questions. We don't repeat what has been said. We're taking note of all the points made by the first speaker. Thank you very much.
The chairman, board of management, all the regulatory present here today, my esteemed shareholder, good morning. My name is Pastor Lagoke Samson Olusegun, the president of the Impressive Shareholders Association. First and foremost, this account we are considering today is historical. Because I go through it, what we need is to commend the board and the management for an excellent and transparency account they are giving us today. Especially our MD for his untiring effort in the company during the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, insecurity in our country and globally. We thank you for the excellent and beautiful job you are doing in our company. Please, sir, keep it up. In the account, that's why I wonder that our company recorded a turnover of 70.5 billion this year. It represented the 35% growth compared to 52.2 billion turnover recorded in the comparison year 2020. I give you kudos for making this, because all the indices of the account is transparency. The board and the management are doing a wonderful, wonderful job, including the staffs. Kudos to you. A round of applause for the staff and the boss. Page 20 to 30. When I go through this page, hi, Pastor Lagoke and all my members, the Impressive Shareholder Association, confirm and believe that we have a competent, vibrant board, intelligent, hard-working board that will take our company to a greater level. Page 88. Donation. Please, in next, maybe your coming year, let us know the breakdown of that donation or who are the beneficiary of that donation. Page 88, under the expenses. On the special business, I advise the board and management to cancel this on issue ordinary shares 4.254 994 583, and when we still need to increase our share capital, we'll do so at the right time. Lastly, I commend the Office of General Counsel and the Company Secretary in presence of Mrs. Abidemi Ademala. She's very accommodating to the shareholders, hardworking, friendly. Together with the staff in his department, especially Mrs. Folashade, they are doing fantastic job. Kudos to you. And the cake we are baking today, we are even considered today. We should not forget our staffs, all the staff, because they are behind of the game. Please take good care of the staffs for us to have more profitable in our company. Lastly, when I look at the annual report, I saw that all our products have been shown in the annual report, and the CSR is also commendable. Sir, keep it up. Thank you for the opportunity given to me.
Good morning, all. My name is Erin Folami Gafar. I'm a shareholder of the company. So I want to start my comment from page 7, result at a glance. From a loss of 5.6 billion, we recorded a profit of 1.1 billion. I want to know what accounted for this, aside from the sale of the tea business division, because that one was reported as a different item when you look at the statement of comprehensive income. I want to commend management for improvement in performance through operational discipline and governance of the business. The 4G growth model that was employed, that is competitive, consistent, profitable, and responsive growth. So we commend them for that. Then on page 18, we achieved 51% gender diversity at management level. In addition, we now have people with disability working in the organization. This is the first time I will read a report that will admit that they have people with disability. They will just say they have a policy as such. But my question now is, what form of disability do they have? And what is the number of such people in the system? As I look around today, I've never seen one of them. So I want to know. Then on page 18, I want to know the meaning of PRO. MD signed off during his report. After his report, he signed off with a FRC number /PRO. We know we have that of ICANN, we have Institute of Directors. So what's the meaning of this PRO? Then following from the disposal of our tea business, how do we intend, is Lipton available in the market? I've taken one before coming to this meeting today. Is it available? How do we get it when we want to buy Lipton in the market? Then on page 31, our gross dividend being proposed today is 2.8 billion. This is from the sale of the tea business, because the profit from other normal source of our operation is about 200 million. We now add this to it before we now declare. We got around 3.3 billion. Then we now declare this as dividend. So how do we intend to improve on our dividend payments going forward? Are we saying we will continue to sell our business divisions to be able to pay dividends? So that's my question on that. Then the tea business that we have sold, how do we intend to make up for the contribution of that aspect of the business to the group? So how do we intend to make up for that contribution? For you to be having that business, it must be contributing something to the group, to the bottom line. So how do we intend to bridge the gap? Then on page 55, Unilever COVID-19 response outcomes. We have infected persons in the company 256, death nobody, recoveries 230, then active cases 26. My question is, what is the current status of the 26 people that are actively infected because they have not recovered? What's the current status of that? Then lastly, I want to wish Mrs. Sotonde Peters well in her future endeavors and welcome my colleague. She was even the one that recognized me today. Folake, we are welcome on board. She's a very brilliant person. We went to the same school. She was my junior. So we are welcome on board.
That is correct. Doc.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Igwe, you're welcome, sir. Well, the name is Triple Prince Dr. Anthony Omoni Yomojola, the current National Coordinator, Independent Shareholders Association of Nigeria. We congratulate Your Majesty, Igwe Ashebe, Obio Funisha, and the entire board and management of our company on this 97th annual general meeting of their company. We commend the giant strive from lost position to a surplus profit for the year, and we pray that it will remain forward and never backward again. I thought someone would say amen. Thank you. We applaud several growth initiatives of the board and management that contributed to the quantum lead in performance. Of particular mention is the spin-off of the tea business to Unilever TMSO Nigeria Limited. We believe that the specialization principle will yield good returns. Also worthy of mention is your successful launching of a new variant of the non-seasoning cubes. It will surely deepen the market. We also give kudos to your various bold initiatives as growing the top line and better cost recovery, which impacted positively on the bottom line. We also appreciate the significant investment in marketing, which boosted brand power. A return to bonus regime with 50 kobo is commendable, and we look forward to your regaining your prime place as a high dividend paying company as we used to have. We are enthused by your olive for the implementation of an electronic dividend and the bonus payment system to eradicate the incidence of unclaimed dividend and demonetization challenges. The list is endless, and at this point, we beam a light on the bottom line. Looking at the performance review, Your Majesty, we humbly wish to set aside the summary review as set forth by your lieutenant and the focus on the stellar performance, as Your Majesty cannot do wrong. Therefore, the reported revenue of 70.5 billion in 2021 and 52.2 billion in 2020 is not from continuing operation, but a combination of sales revenue and income from discontinued operation. Ditto the reported gross profit and the profit for the year. Our review illustrates financial metrics, but I will not go into details of this because I've earlier forwarded this write-up to the Secretary. I will ask some questions, but within that write-up, I only have just one reference to retained earnings. I have a comment there which I want some enlightenment. Retained earnings. This increase, that's page 71 precisely. This increased by 3.64 billion or 169.18% from 2.44 billion in 2020 to 6.06 billion in 2021. My question is this: while this is commendable, we need further explanation of the source of the 2.44 billion retained earning in 2020, which when the company recorded a loss, and the arithmetic of retained earning of 6.06 billion in 2021, when total comprehensive income for the year is 3.63 billion. Like some of the earlier speaker has said, we need to commend the company for what they have done. Actually, we have what I would call a very resourceful and powerful, and let me add, energetic board. We say kudos to your efforts, coupled with the efforts of the management. I also look at the management, the leadership team on pages 28 and 29. I give kudos to them, and I wish them that they continue doing good businesses. But let me ask the board, how many of our top personnel are in other subsidiaries all over the world? Because ordinarily, we would expect a Nigerian to be at the helm of affairs, but we have the vice president who is the managing director of our company. And I want to see those opportunities since we are training others too. We are taking others. How many of the people within the Nigerians are also sent to other parts of the world? I commend the corporate social initiatives on page 55, the COVID response is commendable. I'm trying not to repeat so much of what has been said, Mr. Chairman. On pages 67 and 99 put together, 67 and 99 put together, I want to speak to our impairment laws on trade and intercompany receivable. 829,576 million on page 67. And on page 99, page 99 is 863,245 million. How long have we accumulated this figure, and why do we have this huge figure? Can't we do something about it? Not too far from that, page 98, let me make a request on the dividend. Note 17, page 98, under trade and other receivables, there's unclaimed dividend held with registrar. The question is, which portion of this, which portion is held with the registrars? We want to know of the unclaimed dividend. Mr. Chairman, like I said, I won't like to repeat all that have been said, but there are some areas I've highlighted to point out specifically. On page 100, excuse me, that's note 17, 6th, yes, the 6th one there. This item, after trade receivable, there's bad debt written back in brackets /off with star. And that bad debt written is in bracket 9.56 million. The question is that this treatment is not understood by me. I want some explanation there. Okay? And underneath, on note 18, because this is a mixing, cash and cash equivalent, I've said this is very good, but the accrued interest gain on the dividend will also help to service the dividend. And what I have by servicing is printing of unclaimed dividend for more shareholders to know that they have dividends outstanding. We all know the efforts of the federal government to take this money away from us. Even when the company cannot say anything, we shareholder leaders, we are fighting tooth and nail to make sure this money are not taken away from us. So the only way you can help us is to print this list in readable form. Forget about the IT connection, databases, and how many people, how many shareholders has computer at home. So, but if we have list or claim, like we have this booklet like this, and it's readable, we, the shareholder leaders, we will make sure that we let all the shareholders know about this, and as much as possible, many of them will be recouped. On page 120, on page 120, sir.
Go ahead, please.
Yes. I look at second to the last item there, impairment loss. Impairment loss. The previous year it was 2.5 billion. This year went down to 766,271 million. The question is that any measure any measure or system where over a quarter of receivable is impaired is not acceptable, sir. We should do everything possible to make sure that this money are recoupable. Please let us look for or find alternatives to reduce these losses. And coming finally to page 132. 132, sir. Yeah. We know our company is part of a global conglomerate, but we would love to see the company make use of local sources, local sourcing of raw materials, so as to encourage more utilization of local personnel and products. Looking at that page, I'm on the value added page, you find out that the product that was bought, materials and services bought locally is 23.4 billion, while the imported portion is 39.4. This is huge. So, and to the bottom line, we need to grow our earnings so that we can have more retention than giveaways in order to grow the business of the company. With this, I say thank you very much for the opportunity to serve.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Please, let us be brief in our comments and don't repeat what others have said. And don't forget that the notes to the accounts are very explanatory also. Thank you very much. So we can get everybody to make a comment. Thank you.
His Royal Majesty, the Chairman of the Board, board members, regulatory authorities here present, my colleague, distinguished shareholders, good morning. My name is Matthew Akinlade. I'm going to be brief because I'm not going to repeat what my colleagues have mentioned.
Thank you very much.
First and foremost, I want to congratulate the company for a turnaround in the business, because from 2019, we have been recording losses, 7.4 billion in 2019, and 3.8 billion in 2020. I thank God that we are able to make a profit of 688 million if we exclude the capital gains of 2.7, because it's the addition of 2.7 billion that gave us 3.4 billion profit. There's something in particular that I want to comment, and if it's something that is sustainable for us to continue it. When I look at the revenue, it increased by 35%. But when I look at the cost of sales increase, it's just 22%, which means we are able to achieve some cost reduction on our material and other operational inputs. I think this is quite commendable. Probably our profit would have been significantly higher if not for the overheads expenses that went up drastically. Selling and distribution expenses went up by 39%, and marketing and admin by 42%. That's much greater than the increase in revenue. And to a large extent, these are not even expected to move proportionately with revenue. So there are some overhead expenses that my colleagues have mentioned that went up, that require some explanation. But in addition to those they have mentioned, we have brand and marketing, which jump up by 77%. I know we got to promote sales in order to make money for the company, but how far far do we have to go? So we need to understand what are the key driving factors in this. The same thing, royalties and fees. Royalty and fees, I want to think, will be in line with either revenue or profit. But we have an increase of 42%, where our revenue only increased by 35%. So do we have new products that we have just started paying royalty on it? And do we have NOTAP approval for these royalty expenses? Another one that they didn't mention is the business travel. It went up by 128% from 214 million to 487 million. So we need to look at this and probably offer some explanation for it. In terms of governance, I think the company is doing very well, because I look at page 37 to 38 and I look at the attendance at board meetings, at board committee meetings and audit committee meetings, except for one person or so who have not joined by the time they had meeting. The board scored 100%. So also the committee members. Can we give them a loud applause? Thank you. On page 31, we propose a dividend of 2.87 billion against our profit after tax of 688 million, which means what we are really paying as dividend is the capital gain of 2.7 million. So my question is, for some time now we have not been paying dividend. Now that we are resuming paying dividends and we are paying 50 kobo per share, whether this is sustainable going forward. And I look at the managing director's outlook in his report under outlook. He expressed in that report on cost inflation, which is stated to be way down bottom line in the current year. So I don't know, probably I need to say it more explicitly. It seems that we are expecting the bottom line to drop in 2022. And if it is so, and we don't dispose any other business that will give us capital gain, how can we sustain 50 kobo dividend that we are paying this year? On page 127, note 28, page 127, note 28, item 6 in Roman number, gross receivable from related parties is more than doubled. From 6.3 billion the previous year, it went to 13 billion. And there's a single item there that I believe is responsible for the increase. Unilever MSO, 8.251. That is receivable from them. So even if we talk of our capital gain and what they pay for the tea business, these amounts outstanding is far, far greater than what we receive from them. If you are having so much with them, are they paying interest on it? And if it is not, why are we having so much? To me, it looks like robbing Peter to pay Paul. So we need to look at it critically. Why should Unilever TMSO be owing Unilever Nigeria 8.2 billion naira? I want to express the appreciation of the shareholders to the immediate past finance director for our meritorious service, and also welcome the new finance director, Mrs. Folake Budipe. We wish you very successful tenure of office. And the chairman, once again, I want to appreciate you and your board for the great job that you have done to bring this company back to profitability. I wish that you continue to make progress and give better return to investors. Congratulations once again.
Can we take just one more? Can we take one more speaker? Okay, just two hands up. Okay, we'll take those two, but please be brief. The lady first, and then the gentleman here. But please be brief. Come to the microphone. Come to the microphone. Oh, sorry. Okay, you can sit down. You can sit down, and we'll take the microphone to you. Sorry.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the shareholder present, and the working art board that we have. My name is Mrs. C.O. Obide, National Coordinator of Akogho Shareholder Association Incorporated. Sir, I really appreciate the company secretariat for inviting me to this AGM. First of all, when we were small, Omo was, even the advert, men seeing the advert of Omo, without using it, you love to buy it. But now, some detergents have taken Omo off the market. I don't know how we can make a strategy that Omo will come back to the past. Because I remember when I was small, Omo and Sunlight is our favorite in the house. But now, I don't know how we can push it. Because Omo is very, very effective. Lifebuoy has some particle that when you use it to bath in those days, you love to use it. Now, the product is not like as I wish it should be in the market. What are the sales department? What are they going to do to make those products? Then roll-on, the roll-on you are doing, sure have taken over your own, and your own smell better than sure. These three products are the products I love so much. And the way it should be selling in the market is not the way it's selling. That is my first point, sir. We are doing 97. It's a great year. What is our projection for 100 years? That's my second question, sir. Whenever I take my annual report, what I always go for is the attendance of the directors, the audit committee, and the rest. Sir, the attendance of the board is 100%. Is a great thing. Let's clap for them. For that percentage, any percentage that is 100, I know will take dividend because they've worked so hard for them to reach the 100%. I love the dividend, but you know, female, we love money so much because we had some things to our cooking. We don't spend kobo again in Nigeria. I believe the board by next year, you will improve. Maybe we'll take, instead of 50 kobo, 100 kobo. That's 1 naira. I know our finance director is a female. You work hard. And some female on the board. Wherever we have female, that job is always well done. So it's a tax for the female on the board. I'm not saying the male on the board are not working. No, I'm not saying that. So you male on the board, forgive me. But what I want is by next year, by God's grace, we should be expecting 100 kobo. I know you will do it. I trust those people I'm having on the board, sir. Our corporate governor, they are really trying, and I believe we should listen to their advice. The tea that people were saying, you know, your tea is one of those that in the antenatal they recommend for female. Allah maternity, only centers and Nicholas. If you are doing antenatal there, they will say after birth you should take tea. I don't know why we saw that thing. I don't understand. I've been thinking of it, and in the report, your auditor made mention of it. Is the tea product not giving us money, or why do we sell it off? I want to know, sir. Then our registrar, we have to be careful of GTRO registrar. Please, sir, keep record of our dividend and the payments. Keep record of it. They have case which EFCC has petitioned them, and they've not. They are treating like 30 companies. Or if you don't keep record, I don't know, our money can be, and away it flew. It can be flew at any time. GTR are the registrar, one has to, you open your eyes, you don't use one eye like this. It's two eyes that we should open. We should open. Which sec EFCC know about what I'm saying? Ma, company secretary, please keep record of our dividend in GTR. I don't trust them. I am saying it because the money I am saying, I have from it, and I will be saying it. My family has a huge amount from it. So we don't want Unilever dividend to go the way those one is moving. So we should please, you are a company secretary that everybody trusts, that we appreciate you, we know you, we respect you, so we don't want anything that will tarnish. You've been working hard, and I pray God will strengthen you. Just, you don't close one or one and a half. Open the two for the GT registrar, please. The annual report, you've tried. There's no way we cannot take this annual report to, without telling our colleague, shareholder, or our member that they should go for Unilever. We should know we should purchase more of Unilever, because you've expressed a lot of things. In a company that you have a disabled, at least you've provided food for 10 people. For a person working in a company, that one person is feeding 10 people. So I appreciate the company and the member of staff for giving disabled a job in our company. Thank you once again for giving me this opportunity. My name is Mrs. CEO Obide.
Thank you very much. We'll take the last speaker.
I want to stand on the existing protocol, but personally, I'm happy to be here. My example practice in the capital market since 1990, I broke it today. I don't normally go to any two meetings the same day. If they bring two meetings the same day, I will choose one. But today, I've attended the two. coming, I'll be here in the morning before going to the other one. The reason why I came, I wanted to find if there are so many protocols for registration, but it was easy. That's why I kept this seat for myself. And the reason why I come here is nothing more than the chairman. My name is Benga Idubu. I wear so many caps. I'm the national coordinator of Shareholder United Front. I'm managing director, Center for Shareholders Enlightenment, limited by guarantee. Particularly the chairman, I couldn't go to Onitsha to go and greet him. But first, I'm afraid of traveling. Number two, I don't have the money too much to undertake the journey. Why do I say I thank him? I read in the papers what God saved him from, the embarrassment of the Abuja-Kaduna train episode. And particularly, I'm happy with him that God, who has been protecting him, giving him wisdom, has not deserted. And that's what we are benefiting from, even this company. Everybody has been talking here, the Maida that touch that he added to the board to bring this, our company back to light and whatever. But Mr. Chairman, sir, I'm happy for you. And I pray God will continue to be with you and save you from any untoward happenings before your days, in the name of Jesus. Looking at, many people have talked about the account. Me too, I've looked at the account. The thing that delighted me most about the account is page 7, the performance highlight. It's different from what we already did the previous years. Lost, but today we're having something to celebrate. And I wish the board, the management, the staff of the company, God's guidance, grace, and longevity, that God will let them read the word of their own labor in the name of Jesus. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, distinguished shareholders, for all your comments, which, as usual, we find very useful. Before I let the Managing Director respond as much as possible, as broadly as possible, and maybe the Finance Director, I'd just like to make 2 points, besides thanking you for your very useful comments. I think there was a comment about the unclaimed dividends. I think we should make it clear that the company publishes annually the list of unclaimed dividends, and this is the latest edition, which is published this year. It's both hard copy, but also it's online. You can check it online. I've just checked, and I found out my wife's name is here, so I have to let her know that she has money sitting around some time ago, and so on. And secondly, on a more serious note, Chief Benga, I thank you for your expression of good wishes and prayers with regard to the Abuja to Kaduna train incident, which unfortunately I regret to say was fake news. Regret because in a situation where people died and the young lady doctor who lost her life actually is from my own town. She's one of my subjects. In a serious situation like that, it's very unfortunate that somebody actually planted a news item which was totally false. I never intended to travel by train or by that specific train, and I didn't travel by that train. And nobody called me about any advance call. So it was all fake news. The day we received the report at Onitsha, the palace issued a report out. But as you know, the fake news travels faster than the rebuttal, and is still traveling. So please be reassured that I was never in danger, but still we'll continue to pray for those who either lost their lives or are still under the abduction, and pray that they will all be released. And also pray that all such incidents, both the kidnapping and fake stories, should cease so that Nigeria can be a better country for all of us. I now call on the Managing Director to respond to some of the points.
Thank you, Mr. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So,
thank you, Mr. Chairman. So first of all, good morning, and thank you to our esteemed shareholders for the compliments and, of course, the questions. I'll tackle a few general ones before I pass on to our Finance Director and other colleagues in the management team. So first of all, 2021 was a good year for us, relatively considering the challenges that we faced at the back end of the pandemic, specifically on COVID-19. I think the guardrails and the operational discipline and governance that my colleagues have put in place across the business has now given us some benefit starting 2021. One of you did say it was a turnaround. From my own perspective, it is the start of a turnaround, but not yet. We have done quite a lot, but there are still lots to do. The business is now in a better place in terms of the fundamentals. We have invested behind the brands. We have controlled our liquidity, and we have put in place a lot of guardrails, as I said, across the different functions. For 2022, there was a question on the outlook in terms of the statement that I put down in the annual report. So as of quarter one, the cost inflation that we have been faced is probably a once in 2 decades type of inflationary level. It is not only Unilever that is facing this kind of inflation. It is everyone across the industry, and it is brought about by a lot of external factors. Having said that, we will continue the turnaround. That is a journey that we have committed ourselves into, and it's all about rediscovering our greatness here in Nigeria as Unilever. It will be tough, but with the guardrails in place, with the best practices that we have brought to bear in the local market here in Nigeria, the confidence level is relatively high that the turnaround journey will continue into 2022. One comment was about the meaning of PRO-DIR. So I am a member of the IOD, and that basically means professional director. The other thing about expatriation, or our colleagues locally who have been sent to other Unilever operating markets in order to bring back capability that we will need to generate competitive advantage. We do have them. It's part of a regular program. And as of date, we have 8 colleagues in other parts of the Unilever world. There's also a question on disability. We do not disclose their disability, our colleagues. But if you may know, we have 4 in terms of number at this point in time. And the intention is to actually increase those numbers because we want to play a part in making sure that they feel inclusive in the way we operate here in the country. Several questions relate to increased costs. Some were behind revenue growth, which is, again, always the intention. That is mainly driven by a very robust and strong savings program. Your board and your management committee continue to take a look at each cost line that we have in the operations and challenge ourselves to ensure that, is it really required? So that is giving us some benefits. Is it enough? No. as I did say, the inflationary level that we're facing in 2022, specifically in the one that just came in March, last week of March, is unprecedented. So it will take a combination of very smart pricing on our part, very diligent savings programs, and very smart operations to be able to overcome such a challenge. But again, I will reiterate, we will still be part of 2022's journey to actually turn around the business. If I will turn you over to our new finance director to answer some of the questions with regards to the accounts, and later on I can come back. Folake, please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I stand on existing protocol, and I really want to appreciate our esteemed shareholders. Thank you for the compliment. And the questions you have asked, they are indication of your continued interest in the business, one, and also your support for the business, and you want to see us progress. I'll take the questions one after the other. One that came out strongly is our retained earnings. And you wanted to know about 2.4 billion balance of retained earnings in 2020. If I refer you to page 71 of the annual report, you will notice that at the beginning of 2020, the retained earning is 6.8 billion, and that was also the closing balance as at 31 December 2019. 2020 was not a particularly good year for Unilever, so the business made a loss of 3.9 billion plus other adjustments to the net loss for the year. And so the retained earnings reduced from the opening balance of 6.8 billion to 2.4 billion. This is balanced as at 31st December 2020. So that year it was a loss. That 2.4 billion then rolled into 2021 as the opening balance. Thankfully, and with your support, the business made a profit in 2021. So that boosted the retained earnings as at 31st December 2021 to 6 billion. I trust this answered that question. I'll go on to the question about our income statement and the expenses. Let me roll them all into one. The base year was 2020. In 2021, there was volume growth, and as you have all noted, there was 35% growth in our revenue. So this also followed that some of our expenses would also grow in line with increase in activities. There are particular ones to note, like you have mentioned increase in business travels. Year 2020 was the year of COVID, so there was reduced travel in year 2020. In year 2021, because there were increased activities, expenses like handling charges grew, and other related expenses grew in line with increased activities for the year. Let me go to the question question on receivables and payables. Receivables, this is money due from our debtors. It's grown from 2.9 billion in 2020 to 14.9 billion in 2021. This is a reflection of increase in our turnover. So as some are paid down, there are new ones. But on the average, our debtors day is 17 billion. We continue to assess our credit policy and engage actively with our customers. And I can assure you we're on top of this and there is minimal risk to the business. As for the trade payables, this has grown from 27 billion in year 2020 to 39 billion in year 2021. There are a couple of reasons for this. The external environment has also affected our business in terms of payment for transactions in foreign currency. There is problem of liquidity, which we continue to navigate. But if you look at our working capital, it's quite healthy, and we're in a position to settle all our outstanding as and when due. I'll take the question on dividend being paid out of capital gain. I think it's in order that the business appreciates the shareholders, and after 2 years is declaring dividend. In terms of sustainability of 50 kobo going forward, Carl has talked about the strategy for the business and the 4G growth. The board and the management will continue to navigate the external environment and deploy suitable strategies to grow the business. There was a question on Okay, there was a question on receivable from TMSO. That also include compensation for the disposal of the tea, which is due for payment this year. It's huge, 8 billion, as you've rightly noted, but this payment is not at risk. I think I've done justice to most of the questions. If there is anyone that I've missed out, I will indicate to the chairman and come back to answer that question. Thank you.
Distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, in exercise of the powers conferred on me by virtue of Section 248, subsection 1, of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, I hereby call for a poll on items 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, and 10 on the agenda. Accordingly, voting for these resolutions will be done electronically. Each shareholder stroke proxy has been given a voting device, and the results will be displayed on the screen and on the live streaming of the meeting so that those who are not present physically can view them. Kindly note that each resolution at this meeting, except item 10, requires a simple majority of the votes cast in order to be passed, being ordinary resolutions. I now invite the representatives of Greenwich registrars to provide guidance on the electronic voting process. Greenwich registrars.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can we have the guidelines up, please? We'll just run through the guidelines for voting. Electronic devices were issued to shareholders who are eligible to vote at this meeting and the selected proxies by the shareholders who are not here. Each device has been activated and is ready for use, so you don't need to put it on. It's already active, it's on. A resolution will be announced, and voting for the resolution each would commence after the announcement, please. I would indicate when you should vote. On the voting pad, 1 represents yes, 2, no, that's if you're voting against the resolution, and 3, if you're abstaining from the resolution. Each voting session would last 30 seconds, and it will be indicated on the board, so you'd see the count. At the end of 30 seconds, the results would come up, and then they will be announced. The results will be displayed immediately after each session ends, and will display the results in both unit shareholding and percentage shareholding. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Mutua. Item number 2. We will now proceed to item number 2 on our agenda, which is to declare a dividend. The board has recommended a dividend of 2.8 billion naira. That is 50 kobo per share, subject to the deduction of appropriate withholding taxes and other statutory deductions in compliance with government guidelines for the year ended 31st December 2021. May I ask a shareholder to move the following motion: that a dividend of 2,872,502,500 naira, that is 50 kobo per share, subject to deduction of appropriate withholding taxes and other statutory deductions for the year ended 31st December 2021, out of the amount standing to the credit of the Statement of Comprehensive Income. The dividend, if approved, will be paid to members on the register of members at the close of business on Thursday, 14 April 2022. Can I ask the shareholder to move the motion?
I rise to move the motion. My name is Elijah Sarata Iyabode Balogun.
Thank you very much, Elijah. Seconded?
I rise to second that motion. My name is Pastor Lagoki Samson Olusegun.
Thank you very much, Reverend. I now put the motion to the meeting for voting. I now invite the representatives of Greenwich registrars to direct the electronic voting process.
Can we have the timer up, please? Okay, you may now vote.
Voting has commenced.
Yes, it has. It's already counting. 18 seconds down, 17, 16, 15. Okay, session has ended. On the resolution to declare a dividend, we have 100% voting in favor of the resolution, none abstaining, and none against the resolution. In percentage shareholding, we have 100%. In units, we have 4,551,508,000 units of shares voting in favor of the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mutua. I hereby declare the motion carried unanimously. Thank you very much. We will now proceed to item number 3 on our agenda, which is the election of directors appointed after the last annual general meeting and the re-election of directors retiring by rotation in accordance with the Articles of Association and the Companies and Allied Matters Act of 2020. In accordance with Section 274, subsection 1, and 275, subsection 1 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, Mrs. Folake Ogundikbe was appointed as Executive Director since the last general meeting to fill the casual vacancy created by the resignation of Mrs. Adeshola Shotande Peters to comply with the requirements of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. Pursuant to Section 274, subsection 2 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, may I ask a shareholder to move the following motion: that Mrs. Folake Ogundikbe be and is hereby elected as director of the company. Let the madam move. No, the madam will move, and then you can second. Don't forget, it's a ladies' affair. We are here now. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, my Royal Highness. I rise to move the motion. My name is Mrs. C.O. Obideyi. Sir, we are in King's Palace. We've come to visit King. And when we are in King's Palace, Kings always welcome us with cola. So we are in your palace. We need the cola, sir.
Seconded by?
Seconded by Erin Folami Gafam. No, she's my colleague, so I have to move it or second it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I now put the motion to the meeting for voting, and I invite the representatives of Greenwich Registrars to direct the electronic voting process.
You may now vote, please.
Voting commences.
Yes.
Thank you.
Voting has been completed. On the resolution to elect Mrs. Folake Ogundikbe as the director, we have 96.64% of the votes in favor of the resolution, 3.36% against the resolution, and none abstaining, represented in shareholding by 181,292,000 units of shares, and against 6,309,000 shares. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mutua. I declare the motion carried. Distinguished. You have to get up. Distinguished shareholders, you will have seen from the report of the directors that 3 directors are retiring by rotation at this meeting. In accordance with the Articles of Association of the company and being eligible, the retiring directors offer themselves for re-election. They are Mr. Mutiu Sumonu, CON, Fellow of Nigerian Society of Engineers, Mrs. Abiola Alabi, and myself. The first director retiring by rotation is Mr. Mutiu Sumonu, an independent non-executive director. May I ask a shareholder to move the following motion? That Mr. Mutiu Sumonu, who retires by rotation at this annual general meeting and who, being eligible for re-election, be and is hereby re-elected as a director of the company. Can I ask for a motion? Madam.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Odunga Samiat. I so move, sir.
Thank you. Will somebody rise and second the motion? Thank you very much. I'll now put the motion to the meeting for voting, and I'll invite the representatives of Greenwich registrars to please direct the electronic voting process.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, the session has commenced. You may now vote.
Voting commences.
Yes.
Thank you.
Session has ended. On the resolution to elect Mr. Mutiu Sumonu as a director, we have 99.86% of the votes in favor of the resolution, 0.14% against the resolution, and none abstaining.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare the motion carried. The next director retiring by rotation at this annual general meeting is Mrs. Abiola Alabi, a non-executive director. May I ask a shareholder to move the following motion? That Mrs. Abiola Alabi, who retires by rotation at this annual general meeting and who, being eligible for re-election, be and is hereby re-elected as a director of the company. Doc.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Prince Dr. Anthony Omojola. I move the motion.
May I ask?
I second that motion. My name is Matthew Akelade.
Thank you very much. I'll invite the representatives of Greenwich shareholders to please direct the electronic voting process.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Voting commences?
Yes.
Thank you.
You may vote, please. voting has ended. On the resolution to re-elect Mrs. Abiola Alabi as a director, we have 96.64% of the votes in favor of the resolution and 3.36% against the resolution, none abstaining.
Thank you, Mrs. Mutua. I hereby declare the motion carried. The final director retiring by rotation at this meeting is myself, Nemeka Achebe, Chairman of the Board of Directors. Being directly affected by this next resolution, I now ask Mr. Felix Ememadu to conduct this part of the proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. May I ask a shareholder to move the following motion? That His Majesty Nemeka A. Achebe, who retires by rotation at this annual general meeting and who, being eligible for re-election, be and is hereby re-elected as a director of the company. Madam.
Thank you, Interim Chairman. I so move. Once again, my name is Elijah Salata Iyabodeba.
Thank you very much, Elijah. Would someone please rise and second the motion? Thank you very much. I now put the motion to the meeting for voting. I will invite the representatives of Greenwich registrars to please direct the voting process.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay. Voting has commenced. You may now vote. The session has ended. On the resolution to re-elect His Majesty Nemeka A. Achebe as a director, we have 99.86% votes in favor of the resolution, 0.14% against the resolution, and none abstaining. In shareholding, it's represented by 4,490,408,000 units for the resolution and 6,309,000 units of shares against the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mutua. I will now hand over to the apologies. Yeah? Thank you, Mrs. Mutua. I hereby declare the motion carried. I will now hand over to the chairman to continue with the rest of the proceedings. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mamadu. The next item on the agenda, item number 4, is to disclose the remuneration of managers of Unilever Nigeria PLC. In line with the provisions of Section 257 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, the remuneration of managers of the Unilever Nigeria PLC for the year ended 31st December 2021 has been disclosed on page 89, note 7 of the 2021 annual report and financial statements. Item number 5. The next item on the agenda is item number 5, is to disclose, the next item on the agenda, item number 5, is to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the independent directors. independent auditors. KPMG Professional Services has acted satisfactorily as our independent auditors for the past year and is represented at this meeting by Mr. Uzodimma Wankwo, a partner, and Mrs. Deborah Ukweje. KPMG Professional Services has also indicated its willingness to continue as the company's independent auditors. Please note that under Section 401, subsection 2 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, the retiring auditors are reappointed without any resolution being passed. However, Section 408, subsection 1B of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 requires that the auditor's remuneration shall be fixed by the company in general meeting or in a manner as the company in a general meeting may determine. May I ask a shareholder to move the following motion: that the directors be and are hereby authorized to fix the remuneration and expenses of the auditors for the year ending December 31, 2022. May I ask the shareholder to move the motion? The same people all the time. In the brown dress. Yes, you. Yes, you move the motion.
I'm hearing for Lamigafa. I move the motion.
Thank you. May I ask for somebody to rise and second the motion? Madam, at the back. Next time, you. Thank you very much. And I now put the motion to the meeting for voting. And I'll invite the representatives of Greenwich registrars to please direct the electronic voting process.
We may please vote. Session has commenced. Yes.
Voting commences.
Session has ended. On the resolution to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the independent auditors, we have 97.57% of the votes in favor of the resolution, 2.3% against the resolution, and 0.14% abstaining from the resolution. In shareholding, represented by 4,440,683,000 units of shares for the resolution, 1,045,000 units against the resolution, and 63,000 units against the resolution, abstaining from the resolution. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mutua. I hereby declare the motion carried. We now proceed to item number 6 on our agenda, which is the election of the shareholders' representatives on the audit committee in accordance with sections 238 and section 404, subsection 3 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. The new Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 has reduced the number of directors' representatives on the audit committee from 3 to 2. In In accordance with Section 403, subsection 3 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, our audit committee comprises of 2 representatives of the directors and 3 representatives of the shareholders. It is my pleasure to inform you that the directors have appointed their own representatives. You are to elect today the 3 validly nominated shareholders to represent you for the year 2022. Please note that voting shall be by show of hands in accordance with Section 248, subsection 1 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. In accordance with Section 404, subsection 6, the Company Secretary has received valid nominations in writing 21 days before the annual general meeting from 8 shareholders, each nominating another shareholder as a member of the audit committee. The nominators and the nominees have been confirmed as shareholders of the company. Accordingly, the valid nominees now being presented to you for election are as follows. Oguntoye Olusegun David. Ajani Wahab Abidoye. Durajaye Kolawole Olaleko. Peter Joseph Bolaji. Akinleye Tunde Adeniro. Adeshino Kazim Olani. Udutola Samson Bankole. And Oriade Abiodu Joe. Having introduced the nominated shareholders and explained the election procedure to you, I will now hand over the voting process to the registrars. The first candidate for election is
Wahab, right? Wahab Ajani Adigun. Those in favor should please raise their hands. Okay, Wahab Ajani Adigun. Okay, Wahab Ajani. Is that fine? Okay, my apologies. Thank you. That's well taken. The second person is Oguntoye David Olusegun. Thank you. Thank you. The third person is Kola Wole Durojai Olaleko. Thank you. And Peter Joseph Bolaji. Akinleye Tunde Adeniro. Odutola Samson Bankole. Thank you. Oriade Abiodun Job.
Distinguished shareholders, I'm pleased to announce that our returning officers have completed counting of the votes, and the results are as follows. Wahab Ajani Adigun, 13. Oguntoye David Olusegun, 13. Kolawole Durojaye Olalekon, 13. Peter Joseph Bolaji, 0. Akinleye Tunde Adeniro, 0. Adeshino Kazim Olani, 0. Udutola Samson Bankole, 0. And Oriade Abiodun Job, 0. From the scores just announced, the following 3 shareholders are hereby declared elected as shareholders representatives on the audit committee of the company for 2022. They are Wahab Ajani Adigun, Oguntoye David Olusegun, and Kolawole Durojaye Olalekon. I wish to congratulate them on the behalf of all of us shareholders. The directors have appointed their own 2 members of the audit committee to make up the 5 members, being the maximum number required by Section 404, subsection 3 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. The directors' representatives are Mrs. Abiola Alabi, and Mr. Chika Nwobi, who unfortunately is not present here physically. I now present to you the full composition of the audit committee for the 2022 financial year, which will hold office until the next general meeting. They are Wahab Ajani Adigun, Oguntoye David Olusegun, Kolawole Durojaye Olalekon, Mrs. Abiola Alabi, and Mr. Chika Nwobi. The next item on the agenda is special business. Please be informed that as required by the Corporate Affairs Commission guidelines, the approval of the Corporate Affairs Commission was sought and obtained to conduct special businesses which require ordinary and special resolutions at this general meeting. Item 7 concerns the remuneration of directors, and I should mention at this stage that the non-executive directors have decided to divide any fees voted to them by the company in general meeting in accordance with Article 74 of the Articles of Association of the company. Being a beneficiary myself, I now ask Mr. Felix Emomadu to conduct this part of the proceedings. Mr. Emomadu.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item on the agenda concerns the remuneration of the non-executive directors. The directors are recommending that their remuneration remains at the same level as was approved by members last year. For the year ending 31st December 2021, that is 62 million naira only as directors' fees. In addition, sitting allowances will be paid at standard agreed rates for each meeting attended, and the chairman will be entitled to a vehicle allowance of 12 million gross per annum in lieu of the company vehicle. The directors concerned are as follows. 1. His Majesty Nameka A. Achebe. 2. Mr. Mutiu Sumonu. 3. Madam Amuna Lawan Ali. 4. Mrs. Abiola Alabi. 5. Mr. Chika Wobi. And 6. Mr. Michael Ipoki. May I ask a shareholder to move the motion? That in accordance with Article 74 of the Articles of the Association of the Company, the remuneration of the non-executive directors in respect of the year ending 31st December 2022 and until further notice be and is hereby fixed at 62 million naira only as directors' fees. In addition, sitting allowances will be paid at standard agreed rates for each meeting attended, and the chairman will be entitled to a vehicle allowance of 12 million per annum. Thank you, Pastor Lagoke. Would someone please rise and second the motion? Thank you, Mr. Kilabi. I now put the motion to the meeting for. Yes, please.
My name is Unilever. I observed that you stated the fees for the directors, even the vehicle allowance for the chairman, but the sitting allowance, the standard agreed rates, will you state it? Thank you.
Thank you. Your observation is noted. Yeah, but the sitting allowances are for the chairman. It's 400,000 per meeting attended, and for non-executives is 300,000 naira for each meeting attended. So if they don't attend the meeting, they don't get the sitting allowances. Yeah. So that's it.
Thank you, Bidemi. Okay. So again, thank you, Mr. Kilabi. I now put the motion to the meeting for voting. I will invite the representatives of Greenwich registrars to please direct the electronic voting process.
We're waiting for to come up. Okay. All right. You may now vote, please. The session has commenced. You may vote. The session has ended. On the resolution to pass on the remuneration of the non-executive directors, we have 100% of the votes in favor of the resolution, none against and none abstaining, represented in shareholding by 4,496,714,000 units of shares. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mutwa. I hereby declare the motion carried unanimously. I will now hand over to the chairman to continue with the rest of the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mamadu. The next item on the agenda is a special business to consider and, if thought fit, pass the following as an ordinary resolution of the company. That pursuant to Rule 20.8 of the Rule Book of the Nigerian Exchange, 2015, Issuers Rule, a general mandate be and is hereby given authorizing the company during the 2022 financial year and up to the date of the next annual general meeting to procure goods, services, and financing and enter into such incidental transactions necessary for its day-to-day operations from its related parties or interested persons on normal commercial terms consistent with the company's transfer pricing policy. All transactions falling under this category, which were earlier entered into in 2022 prior to the date of this meeting, are hereby ratified. I wish to draw your attention to the circular to shareholders on pages 136 and 137 of the 2021 annual report and financial statements, which provides more information in respect of the related parties' transactions contemplated. Please note that, as usual, the actual transactions will be disclosed in the annual reports and financial statements for the current year. Therefore, I hereby move the following resolution. I hereby move that the following resolution be passed as an ordinary resolution of the company. Quote, that pursuant to Rule 20.8 of the Rule Book of the Nigerian Stock Exchange 2015 Issuers Rule, a general mandate be and is hereby given authorizing the company during the 2021 financial year 2022 financial year. During the 2022 financial year and up to the date of the next annual general meeting to procure goods, services, and financing and enter into such incidental transactions necessary for its day-to-day operations from its related parties or interested persons on normal commercial terms consistent with the company's transfer pricing policy. All transactions falling under this category, which were earlier entered into in 2022 prior to the date of this meeting, are hereby ratified. Will someone please rise and second the motion? Madam,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise to second the motion. My name is Elijah Sarata Balogu. The chairman moved.
I move the motion, and she's...
I rise to second the motion. My name is Elijah Sarata Yabodi Balogu.
Thank you very much. I now put the motion to the meeting for voting, and I will invite the representatives of Greenwich registrars to please direct the electronic voting process.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, the timer is up.
Voting commences.
Please vote if you haven't voted. Okay. The session has ended. On the resolution to procure goods and services financing and enter into such incidental transactions with other parties, we have 44.28% in favor of the resolution, 43.28% voting against the resolution, and and 12.47% abstaining. In shareholding, we have 8 million, yes. You say it is? No, it's 8,304,000. Sorry, my apologies. It's 83,046,000 units of shares in favor of the resolution, 81,133,000 units of shares against the resolution, and 23,383,000 abstaining from the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mutua. I hereby declare the motion carried. The next item on the agenda is special business to consider and, if thought fit, pass the following subjoined resolutions as ordinary resolutions of the company. One, that the company, that in compliance with Section 124 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, number 3 of 2020 as amended, and Regulation 13 of the Companies Regulation 2021, shareholders hereby authorize and approve the cancellation of 4,254,994,583 unissued ordinary shares of 50 kobo each, which comprise the total number of unissued shares in the share capital of the company. Two, that for the purposes of implementing the cancellation of the company's unissued shares, the board is hereby authorized to execute all relevant documents, take all such lawful steps as may be required by statute and or regulations, and do such other acts or things as may be necessary, supplementary, consequential, or incidental for the purpose of giving effect to this resolution, including but not limited to engaging professional advisors and complying with any directive which any regulatory agency or body may deem fit to impose or approve. 3, that all acts carried out by the board of the company hitherto in connection with the above be and are hereby ratified. I wish to draw your attention to the explanatory memorandum to shareholders on the proposed reduction in share capital on pages 138 to 139 of the 2021 annual report and financial statements, which provide more information in respect of the proposed reduction in share capital by cancellation of shares. The board had carefully reviewed the proposed reduction in share capital by cancellation and concluded that same is in the interest of all shareholders and Unilever Nigeria PLC. That the board took particular steps to ensure that the proposed reduction is the best option for the company. I hereby move that the following subjoined resolutions be passed as an ordinary resolution of the company. 1, that in compliance with Section 124 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, number 3 of 2020, as amended, and Regulation 13 of the Companies Regulation 2021, shareholders hereby authorize and approve the cancellation of 254,994,583 unissued ordinary shares of 50 kobo each, which comprise the total number of unissued shares in the share capital of the company. 2, that for the purposes of implementing the cancellation of the company's unissued shares, the board is hereby authorized to execute all relevant documents, take all such lawful steps as may be required by statutes and all regulations, and do such other acts or things as may be necessary, supplementary, consequential, or incidental for the purpose of giving effect to this resolution, including but not limited to engaging professional advisors and complying with any directive which any regulatory agency or body may deem fit to impose or approve. And 3, that all acts carried out by the board of the company hitherto in connection with the above be and are hereby ratified. Will somebody please rise and second the motion? Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The name is Prince Dr. Anthony Omojola. I do support the motion.
Thank you. I'll put the motion to the meeting for voting, and I will invite the representatives of Greenwich registrars to please direct the electronic voting process. Voting commences? Voting commences.
Yes, it does. Please vote if you haven't done so. The session has ended. We have 100% in favor of the resolution in percentage shareholding and in unit shareholding. 4,551,761,000 units of shares in favor of the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mutua. I hereby declare the motion carried unanimously. Thank you. The last item on the agenda is a special business to consider and, if thought fit, pass the following resolutions as special resolutions of the company. That all references to authorized share capital in the memorandum and articles of association of the company should be replaced with issued share capital and paragraph 4 of the memorandum of association of the company, regulation number 4 of the articles of association, be amended to read as follows. The share capital of the company is 2,872,502,708 naira, 50 kobo, divided into 5,745,417 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each. I hereby move that the following subjoined resolutions be passed as special resolution of the company. That all references to authorized share capital in the memorandum and articles of association of the company should be replaced with the issued share capital, and paragraph 4 of the Memorandum of Association of the company, Regulation 4 of the Articles of Association be amended to read as follows. The share capital of the company is 2,872,502,708 naira 50 kobo, divided into 5,745,005,417 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each. Will someone please rise and second the motion? Madam. Thank you very much. I now put the motion to the meeting for voting, and I will invite the representatives of Greenwich registrars to please direct the electronic voting process. Voting starts.
Yes. The session has ended. We have 100% in favor of the resolution, none abstaining and none against the resolution. In shareholding, unit shareholding, we have 4,551,770,000 units of shares voting in favor of the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Mutua. I hereby declare the motion carried unanimously. Distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, we have now completed the formal business of the annual general meeting, and I would like to thank you all on behalf of the board and management for demonstrating your continued interest in and support of the company's affairs by attending this meeting. Notwithstanding that the government has lifted the ban on large gatherings, the COVID-19 pandemic remains a threat. I therefore urge you all to continue to abide by safety measures in order to keep safe. I wish you a safe journey back to your various destinations, and I now declare the meeting closed.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for attending the 97th Annual General Meeting of Unilever Nigeria PLC. Please ensure you collect your package on the way out. See you again next year. Thank you. Members of the press, the interviews will be conducted on the right side of the hall in front. There is a media wall that has been set up for you. To our shareholders, our guests, please ensure you collect your package on the way out. Once again, thank you for attending the 97th Annual General Meeting for Unilever Nigeria PLC. Do have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, yes.
Media Insight, Let's see.
If I take you to what will happen? You track me my age.
Well done. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I just have a review very quickly.
We're taking a
Okay.
picture and
All
then
right.
they are